The white room smelled of metal and medicine. Commander Vextel sat on the cold chair, his blue skin still bearing the scars from that terrible war. His forearms shook slightly as he tried to hold still. The psychiatrist across from him, Dr. Kethmer, watched with large yellow eyes. "Tell me about Earth," Dr. Kethmer said softly. His voice was calm, like water flowing over stones. Vextal closed his compound eyes for a moment. Even now, 3 months after the retreat, he could still hear the sounds. Human weapons firing. Human voices shouting orders. Human ships exploding in space while their crews fought until the very last breath. "We thought they were weak," Vextal began. His voice cracked like old wood. "The report said they were simple creatures. It's barely past the Stone Age, according to our scientists." Dr. Kethmer looked down at his datapad. The screen showed pictures. Of humans, they looked so small compared to other species the Coalition had conquered. 2 arms, 2 legs, soft skin, with no natural armor, no claws, no fangs, no poison glands. They seemed harmless. Admiral Zethric called them hairless apes, Vextal continued. He said we could conquer their world in a single day. Maybe 2, if they tried to hide in their caves. The commander's voice grew bitter. He remembered how confident they had. All been 200 warships, the pride of the Coalition fleet. Each ship could destroy a city with 1 shot. They had never lost a battle against any species. "Show me the first intelligence reports," Dr. Kethmer said. Vextal touched the screen on the table between them. Images appeared showing Earth from space, a blue and green world covered in clouds. It looked peaceful, almost beautiful. "Our scouts watched them for months," Vextal explained. "We saw their cities, their vehicles, their primitive aircraft. Most importantly, we saw them fighting each other." The images changed to show human conflicts around their planet. Soldiers in different uniforms shooting at each other, ships bombing coastal cities, aircraft dropping explosives on ground targets. They were always at war with themselves, Vextel said. Nation fought against nation, religion against religion, race against race. Our xenobiologists were excited. They said it proved humans were too stupid to unite against a common enemy. Dr. Kethmer made notes on his pad. "What did the pre-invasion analysis conclude?" "Complete conquest within 72 hours, Vextal replied. "Our war planners said humans would panic when they saw our ships. Their governments would surrender to save their cities. Some might fight, but they would be scattered and confused." The alien commander laughed, but it was not a happy sound. It was the laugh of someone who had learned a terrible truth. "We studied 47 other species before Earth," he continued. Pattern was always the same. Show overwhelming force, demand surrender, wait for their leaders to give up. It worked every time. Dr. Kethmer leaned forward, but humans were different. "Did not know how different," Vextal whispered. "Our scientists said they were like the Corvan of Epsilon Prime, tribal hunters who fought over territory and resources. When we conquered the Corvan, their tribes kept fighting each other, even as our ships burned their cities." The screen showed new images. Corvan warriors, with spears and simple guns, still attacking each other while coalition forces landed around them. They had been so busy fighting among themselves that they barely noticed the invasion until it was too late. "The Corvan never stopped their civil wars," Vextal explained. "Even in the prison camps, different tribes would attack each other. It made them easy to control." Dr. Kethmer nodded. He had read about the Corvan conquest. It was considered a model operation, finished in 18 hours, with minimal coalition losses. "So we expected humans to behave the same way," the psychiatrist said. "Exactly," Vextal replied. "Admiral Zethrak positioned our fleet in high orbit above their largest continent. We sent the standard surrender message to all their major cities at the same time." The commander paused, his breathing becoming faster. Dr. Kethmer could see the stress in his patient's body language. All 4 of Vextal's hands were clenched into fists. "What was the human response?" the doctor asked gently. "Nothing," Vextal said. "For 6 hours, nothing. No reply to our messages. No attacks on our ships. No panic in their cities. We thought they were too frightened to respond." The alien's voice became quieter, more strained. Admiral Zethrak was pleased. He said fear was good. Frightened enemies make fewer mistakes. Ordered the fleet to wait for their surrender. Dr. Kethmer checked his notes. The timeline showed that coalition forces had remained in orbit for nearly a full day before beginning their assault. Standard procedure was to wait only 4 hours. But they were not frightened, Vextel continued. They were planning. The screen changed to show surveillance footage from that first day. Human cities looked normal at first glance. Traffic moved. Through streets, people walked on sidewalks. A craft flew between buildings. Look closer, Vextel said, touching the screen to zoom in. Now Dr. Kethmer could see the details. The vehicles were not random traffic. They were moving in organized patterns, like blood flowing through veins. The people on the sidewalks were all walking in the same direction. The aircraft were military jets, not civilian transports. Took our analysts 12 hours to realize what was happening, Vextel said. The humans were not paralyzed by fear. They were mobilizing their entire species for war. The psychiatrist stared at the images. He had never seen anything like it. Every human seemed to know exactly where to go and what to do. There was no chaos, no confusion, no panic. How is this possible? Dr. Kethmer asked. No species can coordinate so quickly across an entire planet. That is what we thought too, Vextel replied. Our communications experts intercepted their radio signals. What we heard changed everything. The commander activated an audio file, and voices filled the room, speaking in different languages, but somehow working together. Every human nation was talking to every other human nation, Vextel explained. Countries that had been enemies for centuries were sharing military secrets. Armies that had been fighting each other the day before were now planning joint operations. Kethmer listened to the voices with growing amazement. The humans were organizing themselves with incredible speed and efficiency. Military leaders were coordinating strategies across continents. Scientists were sharing weapon designs. Factory workers were retooling their production lines for military equipment. In 18 hours, they transformed their entire civilization, Vextel said. Every human on the planet had a job in their war machine. Every factory, every laboratory, every school became part of their military effort. The alien commanders, voice dropped to almost a whisper. Admiral Zethrak realized we had made a terrible mistake. These were not hairless apes. These were predators who had been hunting each other for practice. Dr. Kethmer set down his datapad and looked at Commander Vextel. The alien's blue skin had turned darker, almost purple with stress. His forehands shook as he reached for the water cup on the table. Tell me about the first attack, the doctor said quietly. Vextel drank the water slowly. His compound eyes stared at nothing for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was different, harder, filled with something that might have been fear. Admiral Zethrak grew impatient. He began. 24 hours had passed since our surrender demand. No human leader had responded. No white flags appeared over their cities. The Admiral decided to show them our power. The screen between them came alive with tactical displays. Coalition warships hung in the darkness of space like metal predators. Each ship was 3 times larger than anything humans had ever built. The plan was simple, Vextel continued. Destroy one of their major cities, show them what our weapons could do, then repeat the surrender demand. Every species surrenders after seeing their cities burn. Dr. Kethmer made notes. This was standard coalition procedure. The shock and awe tactic had worked on dozens of worlds. Which city did you target? The doctor asked. New York, Vextel replied. Their largest population center. 8 million humans lived there. Our weapons could turn it to ash in minutes. The commander touched the screen. Images appeared showing the human city from orbit. Tall buildings reached toward the sky like metal fingers. Now millions of lights twinkled in the darkness. Admiral Zethrak gave the order to fire, Vextel said. Our targeting systems locked onto the city's center. The main gun charged its plasma core. Everything was ready. Dr. Kethmer waited. He could see that this memory was particularly painful. For his patient, then the humans did something impossible, Vextel whispered. They fired first. The psychiatrist looked confused. How? Your intelligence reports said their weapons could not reach orbital altitude. That is what we thought, the commander replied. But we were wrong about everything. New images filled the screen. Small objects rising from Earth's surface like angry insects. They moved slowly compared to coalition ships, but there were hundreds of them. Chemical rockets, Vextel explained. Primitive by our standards. We laughed when we saw them coming. Our shields could stop anything they carried. The alien paused, his breathing becoming rapid. But they were not aimed at our ships. Dr. Kethmer leaned forward. What were they targeting? Their own satellites, Vextel said. Every human communications satellite in orbit around their planet. Each rocket carried nuclear warheads. They detonated them all at the same time. Screen showed the explosions. Brilliant flashes of light erupted across Earth's orbital space. The electromagnetic pulse spread outward, like invisible fire. Our sensors went blind, the commander continued. Every scanning array, every communication relay, every targeting computer connected to our orbital network, all of it died in seconds.
Doctor?
Kethmer stared at the data. They destroyed their own communication network to disable yours? More than that, Vextal replied. They had planned for this. While our sensors were down, they launched their real attack. The images changed to show something that made the psychiatrist's blood run cold. Human aircraft rising from hidden bases across the planet. But these were not the primitive jets the Coalition had observed during their surveillance. They had been building in secret, Vextel explained. Underground factories. Hidden research facilities. For months, maybe years, they had been preparing for this exact moment. The human aircraft on the screen looked different from anything in the Coalition's intelligence files. They moved faster, flew higher, and carried weapons that glowed with unfamiliar energy. How is this possible? Dr. Kethmer asked. Your report said humans barely understood nuclear physics? Vextel laughed bitterly. They had been lying to us. Every radio transmission we intercepted, every satellite image we analyzed, every piece of intelligence we gathered, humans had been feeding us false information from the beginning. The commander activated another file, showed intercepted human communications from before the invasion. Scientists discussing primitive theories, military leaders arguing about basic strategy, politicians debating simple resource allocation. Of it was fake, Vextel said, performed for our sensors. While we watched their fake arguments, their real scientists were reverse engineering our technology. Dr. Kethmer felt a chill run through his body. How did they get Coalition technology to study? Scout ships, the commander replied. 3 of our vessels had visited their system over the past 5 years. We thought they had gone undetected, but the humans had found the wrecks. They studied every piece, learned from every component. New images appeared showing human workshops filled with alien technology. Scientists in white coats carefully examining Coalition computer systems. Engineers building weapons using stolen designs. Captain Jake Morrison led their naval response. Vextel continued. While our sensors were blind, his ships launched from hidden ocean bases. They had converted their submarines into orbital attack vessels. The screen showed human submarines breaking through ice caps in remote Arctic regions. But these were not the primitive vessels from Coalition intelligence reports. They had been rebuilt with fusion engines and energy shields. Colonel Maria Santos coordinated their air defense network, the commander said. She had fighter pilots from every human nation working together. Russians flying with Americans. Chinese pilots covering European airspace. Nations that had been enemies for decades now fought as one force. Dr. Kethmer watched the tactical displays with growing horror. The human response was not random or desperate. It was coordinated across their entire planet with precision that rivaled Coalition military efficiency. General Li Wei established ground-based resistance cells, Vextel continued. But these were not simple guerrilla fighters. They had portable fusion reactors, plasma cannons, and communication equipment that could penetrate our jamming systems. The alien's voice became quieter, more strained. Admiral Zethrak tried to regain control. He ordered emergency repairs to our sensor arrays. But every time we restored one system, the humans would destroy it again. Images flashed across the screen showing human attacks on Coalition equipment, small fighter craft darting between massive alien ships like insects attacking giants. These insects had stingers that could pierce military-grade armor. They were not fighting to win quickly, Vextel explained. They were fighting to learn. Every attack taught them more about our weaknesses. Every battle made them stronger. Dr. Kethmer made more notes. How long did this phase of the battle last? 72 hours, the commander replied. 3 days of constant fighting. At the end, our fleet was scattered across the solar system. Half our ships had retreated to defensive positions. The other half were too damaged to fight effectively. Psychiatrist stared at his patient. But you still had numerical superiority. Your weapons were still more advanced. Vextal looked directly at him with all his compound eyes. Doctor, that is when we learn the most important truth about humans. Superior weapons mean nothing when your enemy refuses to fight the way you expect them to fight. The commander's voice dropped to a whisper. And humans never fight the way anyone expects them to fight. Commander Vextal stood up from his chair and walked to the window. Outside, the Zephyrian homeworld looked peaceful under 2 purple suns. No bombs fell from the sky. No enemy ships hung in orbit. No cities burned in the distance. Down. Commander, Dr. Kethmer said gently. Tell me about the moon base. Vextel's shoulders tensed. His forearms crossed over his chest, like he was trying to protect himself from an invisible enemy. When he spoke, his voice was barely audible. Luna Station was supposed to be our salvation, he whispered. The alien turned back to the table and sat down heavily. His compound eyes looked older somehow, as if the memories had aged him years in just minutes. After 3 days of fighting in Earth orbit, Admiral Zethrak made a tactical decision. Vextal continued. He ordered a full retreat to their moon. It seemed logical. The humans had no bases there, no weapons, no way to attack us. Dr. Kethmer pulled up the tactical files on his screen. Luna Station had been established on the far side of Earth's moon, hidden from human observation. The base could house 50,000 Coalition troops and serve as a staging area for the invasion. We rebuilt our sensor networks, Vextal explained, repaired our damaged ships, treated our wounded. For 2 weeks, we thought we were safe. Commander activated the display between them. Images showed the Coalition base growing larger each day. Prefabricated buildings dropped from orbit. Defense turrets installed around the perimeter. Landing pads for military transports. The humans seemed to ignore us, Vextal said. Their ships stayed close to Earth. Their aircraft patrolled only the near side of their moon. Admiral Zethrak was pleased. He said we had broken their spirit. Dr. Kethmer made notes. The psychological profile of humans in Coalition files suggested they would lose morale quickly when faced with superior technology. Then Commander Lisa Park changed everything. Vextel continued. The screen showed a human female in a blue uniform. She had short brown hair and calm eyes that seemed to see everything. According to the file, she had been an administrator for human space exploration before the war. Park convinced her leaders to attempt something no civilized species would ever consider, Vextel said. She wanted to attack the moon itself. The psychiatrist looked confused. Attack the moon? Attack the moon attacked a celestial body? Nuclear charges, the commander replied. Hundreds of them. Placed precisely in the lunar crust, using seismic data from decades of human moon missions. New images appeared showing small human spacecraft landing on the near side of Earth's moon. The ships were tiny compared to Coalition vessels, but they carried crews of engineers and explosives experts. They had been planning this for months, Vextel explained. Every human moon mission for the past 30 years had been collecting geological data, mapping fault lines, identifying structural weak points. Dr. Kethmer stared at the data. They were preparing to use their own moon as a weapon? Gakdala said. While we built our base on the far side, human teams worked on the near side. They drilled deep holes and placed nuclear devices at precise locations. The alien's voice became strained. Commander Park calculated the exact yield needed to cause targeted moonquakes. Not enough to destroy the moon, but enough to destabilize the ground under our base. Images flashed across the screen, showing human drilling equipment working day and night. teams of engineers in pressure suits carefully lowering explosive devices into the lunar surface. Scientists monitoring seismic readings in real time. We detected some of their activity, Vextall admitted. But our analysts dismissed it as desperate vandalism. They said humans were probably trying to mine resources for their failing war effort. The commander laughed bitterly. Admiral Zethrak even joked about it. He said watching humans scratch at moon rocks was amusing entertainment. Double quotes. Dr. Kethmer leaned forward. When did you realize what they were really doing? When the ground started. Shaking, Vextall replied. The screen showed coalition-based footage from that terrible day. Emergency alarms blaring, soldiers running between collapsing buildings, equipment sliding across tilting floors as the moon's surface buckled beneath them.
Ow!
The explosions were perfectly timed, the commander explained.
Ow.
A cascade of detonations. That created artificial moonquakes lasting for hours. Our base was built for meteor impacts and solar radiation, it's not for the ground itself becoming unstable. Images showed coalition buildings cracking apart, landing pads splitting down the middle, defense turrets tumbling into growing crevasses, 50,000 troops scrambling to evacuate a base that was literally falling apart beneath them. But that was only the beginning, Vextall said quietly. New footage appeared on the screen. As coalition forces fled their collapsing base, human soldiers seemed to emerge from the moon itself. They came out of hidden bunkers that had been invisible to alien sensors. Sergeant Danny Cooper led the lunar assault team, Vextall continued. 200 human soldiers who had been living underground for weeks, surviving on minimal supplies, breathing recycled air, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Dr. Kethmer watched the combat footage with amazement. Human soldiers in bulky pressure suits moved through the lunar landscape like they had been born there. They attacked fleeing coalition forces with weapons specifically designed for zero-atmosphere combat. How long had they been there? The psychiatrist asked. Our intelligence suggests 6 weeks, Vextall replied. They had established multiple hidden bases using natural lava tubes and caves. Each position was supplied through secret transport missions. The alien pointed to tactical markers on the screen. Here, here, and here. 3 major positions surrounding our base. They'd been watching us build our defenses and planning ways to destroy each one. Images showed human soldiers using the moon's low gravity to their advantage. They could leap incredible distances in their pressure suits, move heavy weapons that would be impossible to carry on Earth, attack from angles that coalition forces had never encountered. They turned the moon into their weapon, Vextall explained. Every crater became a firing position. Every ridge provided cover for their advance. They knew the terrain better than we did, even though we had been there longer. Dr. Kethmer made more notes. What was the casualty count? 12,000 coalition dead, the commander replied. 30,000 wounded, the rest scattered across the solar system in damaged ships. The psychiatrist looked up from his notes. And human casualties? Vextall was quiet for a long moment. 47 dead. 112 wounded. The numbers hung in the air like an accusation. Dr. Kethmer stared at his patient, trying to understand how such a massive defeat was possible. They had studied every coalition military manual, Vextall explained. Every tactical doctrine, every standard operating procedure. They knew how we would respond to every situation because they had access to our training materials. The commander activated another file, showed human scientists examining captured coalition data cores and computer systems. While we were building Luna Station, human cryptographers were breaking our communication codes, he continued. They could read our tactical updates in real time. They knew our troop movements before our own soldiers did. Images flashed showing human listening posts hidden across Earth's moon, antenna arrays disguised as mining equipment, computer centers built inside natural caves. Engineer Bob Martinez led the cyber warfare division, Vextall said. His team had been intercepting our communications for months. He knew about Luna Station before we started building it. Dr. Kethmer felt his blood turn cold. The humans were always one step ahead. More than that, Vextall replied. They were playing a game we did not even know existed. While we fought a military campaign, they fought a war of information, psychology. and time itself. The alien commander looked directly at the psychiatrist. "Doctor, we thought we were hunting primitive prey, but the prey had been hunting us from the very beginning." Dr. Kethmer set down his stylus and looked at Commander Vextal with new understanding. The alien's story had revealed something that chilled him to his core. The Coalition had not simply lost a battle. They had encountered something that challenged everything they thought they knew about warfare itself. "Commander," the psychiatrist said slowly, "I need to ask you the most important question. What makes humans different from every other species we have conquered?" Vextal closed his compound eyes and was silent for a long time. When he opened them again, they were filled with something that looked like genuine terror. "Doctor, in all my years of military service, I have fought against 43 different species," he began. "Some were stronger than us, others were smarter, a few had better technology. But they all followed the same basic rules of warfare." The alien commander stood up and walked to the medical equipment along the wall. He touched one of the monitoring devices with a shaking hand. "Every species in the galaxy evolved as either a predator or prey animal," he explained. "Predators fight to dominate quickly and completely. Prey animals fight to escape or hide until the danger passes. Both strategies make sense." Dr. Kethmer nodded. This was basic evolutionary theory taught in every military academy. Humans are the only species that evolved as both predator and prey at the same time, Vextal continued. But more than that, they are persistence hunters. The psychiatrist looked confused. "Explain persistence hunting." Vextal returned to his chair and activated the display screen. Images appeared showing human ancestors on ancient Earth, primitive. Humans with simple tools, chasing large animals across vast grasslands. On their homeworld, humans were not the fastest runners, the commander explained. They could not overpower their prey with strength. They had no natural weapons like claws or fangs. But they had something far more dangerous. The images showed humans following animal tracks for days across endless terrain, never stopping, never giving up, always moving forward with grim determination. They would chase their prey until the animal collapsed from exhaustion. Vextal said it might take hours. It might take days. But humans never stopped running. They hunted by never giving up. Dr. Kethmer felt a chill run through his body as he began to understand. "This same trait makes them uniquely terrifying in warfare," the commander continued. "They do not fight to win quickly like predators. They do not fight to escape like prey animals. They fight to win eventually, no matter how long it takes or what it costs." New images appeared on the screen. Human cities during the war, transformed into weapons factories. Children building ammunition in school workshops. Elderly humans operating communication networks. Every single person contributing to the war effort. Captain Steve Johnson demonstrated this during the siege of New Geneva, Vextal explained. "Our forces surrounded the city expecting surrender within days. Instead, Johnson organized the entire civilian population into a resistance network. Grandmothers passing messages between resistant cells, children hiding weapons in their toys, doctors treating wounded soldiers in basement hospitals. They fought for 8 months, the commander said. 8 months of constant siege. We cut off their food, their water, their power. Still they fought. When we destroyed their weapons factories, they built new ones in kitchen basements. When we captured their soldiers, civilians picked up their guns." Dr. Kethmer stared at the images with growing horror. He had never seen anything like it. Entire human city had become a living weapon that consumed Coalition resources and morale like acid eating through metal. "How many Coalition troops were lost taking the city?" the psychiatrist asked. "We never took it," Vextal replied quietly. "After 8 months, Admiral Zethrak ordered a retreat from that sector. The siege was draining our entire campaign." Alien activated another file. It showed a human female in a laboratory coat. According to the data, her name was Professor Ellen Baker, an evolutionary biologist who had been captured during the moon battle. "Professor Baker explained something to us before her rescue," Vextal continued. "She said humans evolved to be The most successful persistence hunters in their planet's history. They hunted woolly mammoths to extinction. They chased saber-toothed cats until those predators fled their territory. The screen showed ancient Earth creatures that had once threatened human ancestors. All of them were now extinct, eliminated by persistent human hunting over thousands of years. She told us that humans do not simply fight wars, the commander said. They become war itself. Their entire species transforms into a single organism dedicated to defeating their enemy. New footage appeared showing the final phase of the Earth. Camp again, Dr. Kate Wilson, a human scientist, was working alongside engineer Bob Martinez to decode coalition communications in real time. Dr. Wilson and Martinez discovered that our fleet's most powerful weapon was also our greatest weakness, Vextal explained. Our ships were networked together for maximum coordination. Every vessel shared tactical data instantly. The psychiatrist leaned forward. But that should have been an advantage. It was until the humans turned it against us, the commander replied. They launched a cyber attack that used our own Unity protocols to spread confusion throughout the fleet. Images flashed across the screen showing coalition ships firing on each other. Navigation systems sending vessels into collision courses. Communication arrays broadcasting false orders to entire battle groups. They made our ships think other coalition vessels were human attackers, Vextal explained. Within hours, our own fleet was destroying itself. Ships that had fought together for decades were suddenly shooting at their closest allies. Dr. Kethmer watched the tactical displays with amazement and horror. The human cyber attack had turned the coalition's greatest strength into a weapon against itself. Admiral Zethrak tried to regain control. The commander continued. He ordered manual overrides on all ship systems. But the humans had anticipated this too. New footage showed human hackers working in hidden bunkers deep beneath Earth's surface. Teams of programmers writing code that could adapt faster than coalition countermeasures, Vextal said. They were not just fighting our current systems, they were fighting our ability to adapt to their attacks. The alien's voice became very quiet. Doctor, they had studied us so completely that they understood our technology better than we did. Images appeared showing the final coalition retreat, damaged ships limping away from Earth's solar system, thousands of casualties being treated in medical bays. Admiral Zethrak sitting alone in his command center, staring at tactical displays. That showed only defeat. The retreat order came after 6 months of fighting, Vextal explained. Not because we had lost all our ships, not because we had run out of weapons, but because Admiral Zethrak realized something that terrified him more than death itself. Dr. Kethmer waited for the explanation. The humans were getting stronger every day we fought them, the commander said. Every battle taught them new tactics. Every captured piece of our technology made their weapons more effective. Every week of war made them more dangerous. The alien looked directly at his psychiatrist with all his compound eyes. Doctor, we were not just losing a war. We were training our enemies to become better at destroying us. Vextal activated one final file. It showed the classified report that had changed galactic policy forever. The document's title read, Earth Quarantine Protocol, Permanent Implementation. The Coalition Senate reviewed our battle reports, the commander explained. Their conclusion was unanimous. Earth must be isolated indefinitely. Not because humans are too primitive for contact, but because they are too dangerous. Dr. Kethmer read the report's final recommendation with growing dread. Under no circumstances should humanity be allowed to develop interstellar travel. If they reach the stars, the Coalition will not survive the encounter. Commander, the psychiatrist said slowly, what is your personal assessment of the human threat? Vextal was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice carried the weight of absolute certainty. Doctor, we have faced species that could destroy planets with pure thought. Others that could bend time itself with their technology. Humans are the only species that turned their entire world into a weapon and wielded it with the precision of a surgeon and the fury of a hurricane. The alien commander stood up one final time. They do not just fight wars, Doctor. They become war itself. Once they reach the stars, every species in the galaxy will learn what we learned too late. He walked toward the door, then stopped. and looked back. Humans do not conquer their enemies. They make their enemies conquer themselves.